Welcome, focus learners, to this explainer. Okay, let's dive right into things, because today we're unpacking the absolute cutting edge of how your brain actually handles focus, discipline, and ultimately success. But before we get into the heavy science, I want to challenge you with a high-stakes mental test right out of the gate. Are you ready? I want you to ask yourself right now, can you sit completely still for just 10 seconds without a single thought crossing your mind? I mean, it sounds deceptively simple, doesn't it? Just 10 seconds of pure, unfiltered mental silence. Go ahead, try it for a second.
Well, if a thought just popped into your head, don't sweat it, you are definitely not alone. And this brilliantly illustrates our very first major point. A shocking 99% of people completely failed this exact test. Honestly, it proves a somewhat terrifying reality about our modern world. We've kind of become prisoners to our own minds. We aren't driving our thoughts anymore. Our thoughts and our distractions are driving us.
Section 1, the 47-second focus crisis. Because, to fix a problem, you first have to measure it.
Look at this wild data from a 20-year study by the University of California. Back in 2004, the average human focus duration on a single screen was 2.5 minutes. By 2024, that number plummeted to literally 47 seconds. Our ability to sustain attention has just been entirely fractured over just 2 decades.
And this modern focus crisis connects directly back to one of the most famous psychological studies in history. Picture this, it's 1970, and researchers at Stanford University placed little kids in a room with a single marshmallow. The deal was they could eat it immediately or wait 15 minutes and get 2. Over half of them couldn't even last 30 seconds. Decades later, researchers followed up and found that the kids who were actually able to delay gratification grew up to be exceptionally successful, while the ones who gave in early really struggled. So the absolutely crucial point here is this. The ability to control your impulses dictates lifelong success. But today, our entire digital environment is essentially designed to make us fail the marshmallow test every single minute of the day.
Section 2, 3 deadly brain traps. It's crazy to think about, but every single morning, millions of people wage a silent war against their own growth simply by hitting the snooze button. To really understand why mornings dictate your entire life, we have to look at the Theta brainwave state. When you first wake up, your brain is transitioning from deep sleep into wakefulness. This bridge? That's the Theta state, and your mind is basically acting like a wet sponge. Whatever you feed it goes straight into your subconscious. So when you wake up and immediately check negative news or gorge on cheap social media dopamine, you're severely polluting this highly vulnerable brain state. You're literally turning your natural morning cortisol spike into chronic anxiety. And once that morning foundation is cracked, you fall right into this vicious 3-step cycle. Step 1, the impulse trap. This is where the lazy region of your brain convinces you to just push the hard work tomorrow. Then, step 2, the dopamine trap. Your brain starts craving easy scrolling over meaningful effort because, it releases cheap, instant feel-good chemicals. And finally, step 3, the regret trap. This is where you spend your whole evening feeling super guilty for wasting another day, which totally destroys your self-confidence. And neuroscience shows us that low confidence directly degrades your brain's performance. It's a brutal loop.
Section 3, the myth of motivation. This is basically a guaranteed formula for failure. Most people think they just need to feel inspired to break the cycle. But relying on the emotional, unpredictable feeling of motivation is exactly what holds them back.
Let's anchor the concept of real discipline with this incredibly powerful mindset from football icon Cristiano Ronaldo. When faced with intense pressure, he didn't sit around waiting to feel motivated. He operated on a completely different frequency. Your love makes me strong, your hate makes me unstoppable. High performers operate on structure under pressure. They absolutely do not wait around until they're in a good mood to get to work.
And this is the core difference we need to grasp. Motivation is emotional, it's chaotic, and it waits for the perfect mood. Discipline is systematic, it's consistent, and it acts first. Psychology expert Angela Duckworth actually calls this grit. It's that magical combination of passion and long-term consistency. She proved that high talent with low discipline almost always fails, but relentless discipline always wins. Because here's the psychological law you must remember. Taking action creates motivation, not the other way around.
Section 4, rewiring your brain. Okay, the incredible news here is that we are not permanently stuck. We literally have the biological power to physically change the structure of our brains.
It's a concept called neuroplasticity. Your brain physically restructures itself based on daily repetition. I want you to think of your focus exactly like a muscle at the gym. You have to train it daily. If you want to build this muscle, stop using your phone's calculator for simple math. Find your distraction triggers, like that little chime of a notification, and physically remove them. Turn your phone off, put it in another room. You literally have to force your brain to adapt. Another absolutely crucial tool here is your Reticular Activating System, or RAS. Think of the RAS like a giant tea strainer for your brain. You have millions of thoughts and stimuli hitting you every single day, right? Well, the RAS filters out the noise and lets in what it thinks is important. When you give your brain positive affirmations, you are actively programming this tea strainer to filter for success and opportunities rather than filtering for anxieties and obstacles.
And to supercharge that brand new neural network, you need BDNF. This stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It is, quite literally, a biological fertilizer for your brain that accelerates your learning and sharply increases your focus. And the easiest way to release it? Simple physical movement. Just a few minutes of stretching or exercise acts as a biological morning coffee for your neurons.
Section 5. The 6-Minute Morning Protocol. A framework designed perfectly to exploit that highly sensitive morning theta state we talked about earlier.
Enter the S.A.V.E.R.S. protocol. If you want to build an unfair economic advantage in a world where everyone else's attention span is just 47 seconds, all it requires is 6 focused minutes a day. Let's break down exactly how this transforms your morning.
The first 3 minutes are all about setting the foundation. Minute 1 is silence. You just sit quietly and focus on your breath. This simple act stops that morning cortisol spike from turning into full-blown anxiety. Minute 2 is affirmations. Speak positive truths out loud to install new programming right into your RAS filter. Minute 3 is visualization. But listen, don't just daydream about the end result. Mentally rehearse the difficult process itself. Olympic athletes use process visualization all the time because brain scans actually prove that mentally practicing a task fires the exact same neural pathways as doing it physically. It's wild.
Okay, now for the final 3 minutes. Minute 4 is exercise, just some light stretching to release that BDNF and fertilize your neurons. Minute 5 is reading, just 1 or 2 pages acts as vital input, downloading expert wisdom directly into your mind. And finally, minute 6 is scribing, basically journaling. This acts as the output. When you write down your thoughts and priorities, you instantly clear mental clutter and offload those massive mental traffic jams right onto paper.
And here's a pro tip to practically guarantee this morning routine actually happens. Time block your tasks the night before. Research shows that writing down your tasks before you go to sleep increases the probability of you executing them by 50%. Why? Because it entirely eliminates morning decision fatigue. Oh, and also put a glass of water beside your bed tonight. Drinking at the exact moment you wake up activates your system and builds an immediate, easy habit of discipline.
Now, what's really fascinating is how you can adapt this for the end of the day, too. Think about the evening reset. When you come home from work, you're probably carrying the stress, the traffic, and the tension of the day straight inside your family. Instead, try applying a 6-minute invisible reset right before you walk into your home. Just sit in your car, breathe, intentionally leave the office stress behind, and program your mind to be present. It completely changes the dynamic of your evening and heavily protects your relationships.
Which leaves us with one final, totally provocative question. I want you to ask yourself honestly, are you just waiting around for motivation, or are you actively building discipline? Remember, motivation might help you start, but discipline is absolutely the only thing that will help you finish. Take action today. In fact, I'd love for you to drop a comment below sharing the one daily habit you are starting right now based on this protocol. Keep training that focus muscle, and I'll see you in the next explainer.